The Seven Kingdoms needs a ruler loved by millions with a powerful army and the right family name.
Good luck finding him.
Who said anything about him?
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
The Works Minister reveals the Bamsi Dorm was never insured and will cost over $5 million to rebuild. The Prime Minister suggests there is a threat to his security, plus a woman's body found burnt beyond recognition, why police believe she was murdered. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Bonnie Toot and NB12 starts now. Tonight, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis has confirmed that Bamsi's male dormitory, which was severely damaged by fire in January, was never insured. This revelation contradicts comments Davis made in Parliament 2 weeks ago when he said the contractor had all-risk insurance when he signed the Bamsi contract, but his insurance lapsed following construction delays. Davis now says the project's contractor only presented an insurance quote and not actual proof of insurance. Jasmine Brown has the details in this report.
While addressing the House of Assembly today, the Deputy Prime Minister backtracked on previous statements he had made. He now calls the Bamsi insurance issue an avoidable mistake, but insisted there was no malicious intent.
On February 25th, Davis had previously told Parliament his advice was that the contractor, Audley Hanna, had everything that was required to do work with his ministry, including contractor's all-risk insurance, but that the insurance coverage had lapsed because the project was not completed on time. Davis said the files were eventually provided to him on March 2nd and revealed the contractor provided all he was required to except a certificate for all-risk insurance.
I'm now in a position to say that the contractor provided all that he was required, save a certificate for all-risk insurance. What the contractor did provide was only a quotation of cost from Royal Star Assurance for all-risk insurance for a 6-month period from commencement of the project.
He tabled copies of documents associated with that project, including the contract for construction of the male dorm with Paradigm Construction, mobilization payment sheets, letter of intent, a business license for Paradigm, and the insurance quote. Our news team obtained those documents, which were telling. According to those documents, Paradigm Construction Company presented the ministry with a contract's all-risk insurance quotation from Royal Star Assurance. That quote covered a period of 6 months from February to August 2014 and included third-party liability coverage of $1 million. The policy would have also covered contract works of $3 million. The quoted premium was $23,756.65.
What the contractor did provide was only a quotation of cost from Royal Star Assurance for all-risk insurance for a 6-month period from commencement of the project. It is noted that mobilization was issued thereafter. What the file does not tell me is who took the decision to advance the mobilization without the requisite insurance, what intervention, if any, was made to ensure that this requirement was met once identified, and why the contract, which has been substantially delayed, was allowed to continue without this critical requirement. In this case, however, it was incumbent on the contractor, having been paid full mobilization, to ensure that the insurance premium, which was a mere $23,746.65, was paid immediately.
According to the documents, that mobilization fee was 20% of the contract, or $520,000. Davis called what happened an administrative error. He said he is constrained to call out the actions of the technical officers whose duty it is to be good stewards of the people's money and to lessen government's exposure to potentially embarrassing situations. The minister further explained that since the dorm was not completed and had not been turned over to the government, the contractor is fully liable. And Davis says the project has now doubled in cost as they try to determine how to move ahead.
My ministry is now making a determination as to how we will recover this loss from the contractor. Since the fire, two options have been determined. The first is to cut the building to its foundation and rebuild, given the fact that the fire tested the entrails of the building. The second option is total demolition to rebuild a new structure. Estimates in hand target the reconstruction cost at around $5.5 million.
Davis says the new estimate takes into account inflation, VAT, and reconfiguration of units to include double occupancy. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Former Minister of Works Nico Grant accused Davis of misleading the House when he said last month that the contractor had insurance when the Bamsi contract was signed. As a noted attorney, Queen's Counsel, and Deputy Prime Minister, Grant says Davis should know better. He's now calling for a criminal investigation.
If fraudulent acts have been committed, and it would appear that it has, I believe that it requires a police investigation. Secondly, since the member has misled this House, he should do the honorable thing. Mr. Speaker, this is a sad day in the Parliament of the Bahamas.
Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis also questioned the compliance letter confirming Paradigm Construction is in good standing with the National Insurance Board.
How is it that a member who did not pay the national insurance premiums for its workers, how is it that they could have received a compliance letter? And our records also reflect, again, Mr. Speaker, that in addition to that, he still has not paid national insurance for its staff members on this project. So the compliance letter needs to be investigated. Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and MP for St. Anne's, Hubert Chipman, said the PAC will probe the Bamsi matter. Prime Minister Perry Christie suggested today that he was threatened and now has additional security. Kyle Joaquin takes it from here.
Prime Minister Perry Christie rose to his feet in Parliament today to basically defend the government and its handling of the Bamsi ordeal. However, his comments took a fairly interesting turn today after he began urging parliamentarians to be mindful of what they say in Parliament. He told them, as parliamentarians, they have followers, and sometimes those followers, based on what they say, decide to carry out violent acts. Prime Minister Christie now has more security around him after an event occurred which may have been perceived as a security threat to the nation's chief. While it is still unclear as to what exactly happened, Christie told parliamentarians they must be careful as leaders when they create public opinion that is interpreted by their supporters. Supporters whom he said may not be as disciplined or as discerning as parliamentarians. He said the interpretation of their supporters could result in the infliction of violence.
I wish I could speak about something personally going on in my life as Prime Minister. I don't want to say about it now because it has a matter of national security. And why you see more police around me.
On Monday, just moments before the Prime Minister arrived at Carmichael Primary School for a renaming ceremony, a bomb squad had to carry out a complete sweep of the premises. This after a call that there may have been a bomb on the school's grounds. Outside the House of Assembly today, the Prime Minister didn't wish to give any more information on the ordeal, stating it's now a matter of national security. But just before that in Parliament, Christie said he is deeply concerned about the environment created which may have led to the male dorm at Bamsi being burned down. Whatever the case, the Prime Minister said there is a direct link between what is said in the House of Assembly and what happens outside in the public by their supporters.
And that's where we have to exercise a great deal of caution and care and responsibility. And maturity, quite right.
So just how dangerous is politics nowadays? Christie believes it wouldn't be so bad if politicians were a bit more mindful of what they say and the controversy they can cause.
Because our words, Mr. Speaker, are being interpreted by people who allow their own subjectivity and passion and feeling to drive them.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
And in other news, police are investigating the murder of a 33-year-old mother of 3 whose charred remains were found inside a burning building off Kemp Road this morning. Authorities say a 36-year-old man believed to be the victim's husband reported the incident to police and is now in custody. More than 2 hours after her burnt body was discovered in this 2-story blue and white building, relatives of 33-year-old Tiffany Nicole Knowles cried out in anguish as crime scene investigators removed her body from an upstairs bedroom and placed it in the back of a van. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll says a 36-year-old man believed to be the victim's husband showed up at the Wolf Road Police Station at 7:20 a.m. to report an incident on Kemp Road,
where he had reported being involved in an altercation in the White Sedition area and reported a structural fire.
Roll says officers raced to White Sedition and found a 2-story building engulfed in flames. After extinguishing the blaze, they found Knowles' body, which Roll says was burnt beyond recognition.
When officers went through the interior, found a charred, burnt remains of we believe to be a human being, burnt beyond recognition. We have in custody, we believe, the male that went to the Wolf Road Police Station.
Though Roll says an autopsy will be conducted to determine the cause of death, relatives say they understand the mother of 3 had stab wounds. Neighbors were angered by her death. Attorney Ian Cargill, who is Knowles' older brother, had tears in his eyes as he arrived on the crime scene. Their aunt, Priscilla Hall, says the youngest of Knowles' 3 children was inside the home at the time of the incident, but her aunt removed the child from the scene. Hall says her niece was a loving person and worked as a straw vendor.
Tiffany is the part. Tiffany is what you see is what you get out of Tiffany. She don't shy from nothing. If she has something to tell you, she tell you. She's my sister's last child. My sister died. When my sister passed away, she was a little girl. And now today, I go in to take my grandbaby to school. I got the call to say, she's dead. This is unbelievable that Tiffany is dead. It's so difficult. When I saw Ian passing just now, knowing that is his last baby sister, it really hurt my heart more to see the pain in Ian's face. I know the way how he loved Tiff.
This latest incident brings a murder count for the year to 29. Hall says she believes more than one person is responsible for her niece's death.
Nobody can hold Tiffany down. Nobody. Tiffany can fight like a man. It's difficult to hold Tiffany down. So for me to believe that Tiffany was stabbed and burned, more than one person had to do that. One person couldn't do it.
However, Roll says police will not speculate on how Knowles died.
We have to hold an identification and autopsy to determine the exact cause of death of the individual and to determine whether or not this person in there is in fact who he said it is.
When NB12 returns, the immigration debate continues. We'll tell you all about that after this break.